Atsu, and this is Coach Otto Addo explaining what may have cost our draw.
No, I think surely we want to have ball possession. I think it's very difficult to play on this terrain when it's not watered. We can't play fast, so it's a disadvantage for us if the pitch is not wet. And the boys, surely they play in Europe, they have wet pitch, they can play fast, but the pitch was very slow for us, so it's difficult to outplay the defenders. But
Atsu, was that a problem?
No.
Oh, it says the pitch was not, it was difficult for us to play a kind of football. You know, the players.
I thought I didn't hear that right.
No, because our players are playing in Europe. You know that kind of feeling. We play in Europe. The players are used to all these great pitches, and here they are in Chad, a very poor pitch. Well, wouldn't you agree that's actually a problem?
No, he's making excuses.
Oh,
he's making excuses. The team was not good enough. His coaching was not good enough. His game management was not good enough. It has nothing to do with the pitch. No.
What was wrong with his coaching?
So, if you look at the performance itself, I didn't have issues with the lineup, because over time I have come to accept that for whatever reason Otto Addo tends to favor Elisha Owusu and Salis Abdul Samed. And I don't think it's technical. I don't think anyone can convince me that Otto's fixation, I think it's favoritism. I don't think it is technical. I don't think anyone.
The best?
No, because if you see, they are supposed to be holding midfielders, right? By definition, they are supposed to screen your defense for you. They are not exactly ball winners. They are not clean tacklers. They are not the most intelligent when it comes to eating up space, right? Covering ground and blocking passing lanes and channels and all of that. They are not good at it. So I don't see what else that Otto Addo looks out for, right? For him to say that those are the things that convince him, because what I've just explained is one aspect of the job of a DM. The other aspect has to be distribution, your pass selection, your vision, anticipation. They are not good at any of those. That is why if you watch the game yesterday, every time they receive the ball, they rather go to the centre backs and pass the ball, and instead ask the centre backs to start our build up.
Actually, I have a question.
However, just let me finish there.
Right.
However, that was not the reason why we lost we failed to win yesterday. As bad as that was, it was practically inconsequential, because time and time and again, we were fortunate to have Jerome Opoku, whose distribution was very good. So he would hit the balls long and find Kudus and Iñaki Williams time and time and again, and it was always in positions where those players could threaten. And I would say that is to Otto Addo's credit. I think that was deliberate, because we saw that repeatedly, right? And if you can see a pattern developing in the way a team approaches the game, that clearly has to be a coach's instruction. And I think that one, Otto deserves credit for it, because it worked. That was his way of progressing play. So I don't think the lineup, or even the players that we don't agree should have started yesterday's game, I don't think they are the reason we lost yesterday's game. We lost yesterday's game because we simply did not care enough, from the players to the coach. The players, because right from the get-go, we played as if there was nothing at stake. Look, yesterday was not one of those cases where you have to do a tactical review, because the base, which is application, was not even existent. So you can't even move past that to go and discuss the quality of the tactics or game management or any of that. The players walked like it was borderline disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the goal, and it's like we didn't even have players.
Forget about the goal. Right from kickoff, right from when the game started, we were walking. There were no runners in behind. There were no players offering themselves as passing outlets to their teammates in possession. It was very pedestrian. It was as if there was nothing at stake. It was as if they didn't want to be on the pitch. So I was very disappointed with the players, the entire team. However, I was more disappointed in the coach, because usually when a coach sits on the bench and he sees his team play in that manner, he will react, right? He would try to jolt them into action through his words. So if he communicates to the players repeatedly, and he realizes that still there is a certain inertia towards responding to him, the next thing is that there are consequences. The consequences comes in two forms. Either he rejigs things on the pitch, rethinks the shape of the team, and decides to choose a different route of attacking the game, or he withdraws those players who are not responding to him. And right from the moment the game started until the game ended, you did not get the feeling from Otto Addo through his body language or through his decisions that he made that he was at variance with what he was seeing on the pitch. You didn't get the feeling that Otto did not like what he was seeing or he was opposed to the football that the team was playing, and that for me was quite disappointing. But there is an explanation for that. Otto is a very conservative coach, borderline paranoid, to the extent that he's one of those coaches who like it when there is no activity, when the game is incident free, right? Because they'd rather have a game where the team is not under threat, where they are in no immediate danger of losing possession, of giving away chances, which is the way every coach thinks anyway, except that what we see with Otto Addo is the extreme of it. So even against Chad, who have lost every single game, whose only goal until yesterday was a deflection. It came via deflection, I think, in that game against Mali. That conservativeness and borderline paranoia manifest in the way he deploys his troops. And I was having a conversation with Sicho yesterday, and he explained something that for me was very profound. And on game plan today, because the audience is more sports friendly, we will get very technical and break some of these things down. But what I can tell you now was that even against Chad, who have not had any attacking threats whatsoever, look, yes, Raul Savoy is a decent manager, but this is Chad. They do not have the options that should make you worry too much. You should set your team, let them loose, and go and attack.
In fact, that was why I was going to come in to ask you the question about whether or not we are not being one-sided. Just dive into the point. So let me bring it in before you go. I'm just hold on. I'm just saying that what I'm saying is, are we not having a conversation without respects to the other side? Because it's a two-side game, isn't it?
No.
That's been my concern ever since you started the point.
Because that paranoia, what it does is that usually, even for conservative coaches, if they want to play with two holding midfielders, it is because they want to give the license to one of the fullbacks to bomb forward. So what happens is that when that fullback moves forward, the centre back on that side shifts closer to the flanks, and then you have one of the holding midfielders slotting deep in between the two centre backs. So it forms a back three, right, on that side, and you still have one holding midfielder in front of them. So it serves that purpose. But yesterday, both of our holding midfielders were sitting in front of the back four, and both of our fullbacks were still static. So each time Semenyo went forward, he didn't have Gideon Mensah to combine with, and each time Gideon Mensah went forward, Semenyo was behind him, because Otto was consistently mindful of the numbers he would commit forward. And that is what I mean by being conservative and borderline paranoid. Because yesterday, yesterday was not one of those games to go and pick the late Jones Atukefio or pick Pep Guardiola. Just apply yourself. I think if we had applied ourselves, I think we would have been able to see off that game.
I see. But, talking about how our players were static. Now, I don't understand. What was wrong with Partey? Why didn't he play?
I think he hasn't really trained much with the team, and also because of the trips he's had to make in the past week because of his ongoing court case in the UK. So, and it is in keeping with the standards that Otto Addo has set. I remember the last year, one of the qualifiers, I think Jordan came to camp. He was allowed to come to camp a day after the sessions had started. Because of that, he did not start the game. Joseph Painter has suffered it. So, I mean, it is in keeping with the way he manages the team that if you are not part of all of the training sessions, you're not going to start the first game. I mean, after that, maybe having trained with the team, then you will have game time. But look, yesterday had nothing to do with which players we selected. Yesterday was one of those games where if the game plan is right, you go there and you apply yourselves. Fortunately for us, the standard that Chad operated at was the kind where if we had put our front foot forward, if we had showed a bit more desire, if we had committed to it a bit more and looked like we were prepared to take that advantage and extend the lead that we had, I think we would have won. So this is not one of those reviews where there were concerns about how, as I've explained, Otto Addo deployed his fullbacks and the holding midfielders, but it was not the reason we lost. For me, it was more of application, and the fact that Otto himself was comfortable to watch that, didn't react to it, and at the end of the game in his post-match assessment appeared to be making excuses more than accepting that we fell short of the standards.
The problem is Otto Addo.
Him and the team, because yesterday,
but he set up the team.
Yeah, and you see, for Otto's numbers are not good. There are those who would point out the fact that Otto Addo has not lost a World Cup qualifier yet, which is true. In fact, the 4 games that he superintended over in this qualifiers, he's won. But since Otto Addo returned, if you look at the 15 games that he has played, he has won 5, he has lost 5, he has drawn 5. He has a win percentage of 33.3%. Otto Addo has not faced world beaters. If you look at the teams that we have played, you would expect that we should be doing better for a Black Stars coach. And you see, the period that he's worked into the team is the stuff of dreams for any coach who is looking to rebuild a team and going through a transition period. It is the stuff of dreams because they are opponents that you can test yourself against at very little risk. Yeah, we have. If you look at the teams we have played, perhaps the highest rated was Mali, and we beat them across the AFCON and the World Cup qualifiers. The AFCON qualifiers, it was Sudan, it was Niger, it was the Central African Republic, it was Comoros. I think there was Madagascar too. For this World Cup qualifiers, it is Chad, it is Comoros, it is Madagascar, Central African Republic, and Mali. If you play 15 games against these teams and you win only 5, you need to take a hard look at yourself.
But Winston, this is where I have that challenge that I feel that we're being a bit too entitled as a country. I mean, with respect to the other side, it's not as though you don't go into a game expecting that it will be a walk in the park. I mean, that's why it's a game.
That's how you treated the game.
Yeah, but there's a lot at stake here. You don't go into a game.
But isn't that what we're saying? That the players, it's not entitlement.
Yeah, I feel so at some point because
then you are misunderstanding me. It is not entitlement for me to expect that the Black Stars will apply themselves.
Not entirely based on the point you're raising. My point is that as a country, and not just because of you, because there's been rhetoric around it, it's as though, well, it's Chad.
But we have not been dismissive of Chad.
I feel that these guys are also coming on board, well prepared, knowing that there's
have you watched them play?
Knowing that there's something.
Have you seen them play?
No, that's my point. That you don't go into a football match feeling a bit entitled. That's been the challenge for me. That we don't have to be entitled as a country, regardless of how small the team might be, less technical they might be, and whatever impressions you might have about the other side. You are always going into a game knowing that you could lose because the guy is also coming on prepared. Do you get my point? So I feel that that's where we can cast some slack for the team as well. And for those of you who are doing all the technical arguments, just be mindful as well that the other side you're playing.
It is not. Here's why.
And
I ask a simple question: have you watched these teams who have been beating us?
It's not. I'm making a generic point.
No,
right? Because that generic point will hold.
You see, you can't make a generic context and sidestep the context of these conversations.
We're active the phone lines right now.
Yes, and the context of these conversations. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that if you see a Black Stars performance, the team goes out, balls out, plays very well, and they lose, I think Ghanaians are reasonable enough to cut them some slack. If the Black Stars play a credible opponent, right, and despite our best effort, we lose that game, no Ghanaian is going to sit here and say, just because we are 4-time African champions, we expect that we should win that game, even if we did very well. and the opponent was simply better. But that has not been the case. When was the last very good performance you saw of the Black Stars over a consistent period? We had the 4 games, for the World Cup qualifiers that got us into this position, and we are right back to the very performance levels that got us failing to qualify for the AFCON. Okay. It is not entitlement if I say that the team needs to apply itself, that they need to take this game seriously. It is not. If there is any entitlement, it is the team yesterday that looked like they expected to turn up and then Chad will roll over for them. I don't think any of us are entitled when we see the Black Stars need to step it up. Against Mali, when they played well and got that performance, in that game, Ghanaians applauded the team not because the performance was pretty, but we showed grit, we showed character, and we showed personality. Mali was significantly better than us, but in that game, everyone understood that the objective was to leave Bamako with the 3 points. And so even when we did not play well, everyone applauded the team that, look, that game is a test of character, not how well you can play. Just get the win. I think sometimes we need to give ourselves some credits that we appreciate some of these games, some of these scenarios, and the context that it comes with better than you like to think.
But head of JoySports, Fentuo, Tahiru has joined us. Tahiru.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Fentuo, how are you?
Yeah, very well. How are you doing?
Oh, God is still taking care of his children. But Otto Addo and the Black Stars have done their thing again.
I mean, it's not all over. You don't need to cry too much. We've still got 3 games to go, so there's still a chance there for Ghana to qualify. Except that this time, we have to win all 3 games. Before yesterday, with the remaining 4 matches, we could afford 1 slip. And possibly that slip, probably should have come against one of the big chasing pack, like Comoros, who we have to play at home, or Mali, who we play at home on Monday. Instead, it came against the whipping boys of the group, Chad, who had not won a game. In fact, they've lost every single one of their previous 6 matches before yesterday against the Black Stars, and we dropped the points against them, which means now we have to win against Comoros. We have to start by winning against Mali on Monday, beat Comoros as well, and then I think we also need to go to Central African Republic. So it's a tough ask.
But I think if we beat Mali and Comoros, we're good to go. I mean, Mali has 13 points. We have 16. If we beat Mali, we get to 19. Even if Comoros wins their next game and we beat them, we can afford to slip against Central African Republic. But the question is, can we beat Mali and Comoros? I doubt if we can even beat Mali.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, it's football. I don't think that anyone expected us to beat Mali in Bamako, including yourself, Winston. But we did it anyway. We won that game by 2-1. And I think that has become the running theme of Otto Addo's team. When you least expect them to do well, that's when they do well. When you massively expect them to get one over the line in what should be a routine game, that's when they drop the ball. They did it all through the AFCON qualifiers in a group that Ghana had no business losing to. They lost games like games against Niger at home. I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams would have expected Ghana to be losing those games. And those were exactly the games they lost. In a game against Mali away from home, I don't think anybody expected them to win that game, but they went there, defied the odds, and got a victory. So Monday is another day where they could do the impossible. But I think the pressure they've put on themselves is not ideal, because guess what, Winston? On Monday, they're not just fighting to win that game against Mali. In fact, Comoros, who Madagascar, beg your pardon, not Comoros. So you see, Madagascar, they are in action. In fact, Madagascar are the ones that are second behind Ghana. They're only 3 points behind. Their next game is also on Monday against Chad. They play at 4 p.m. at home. Now, they win that game and they go level on points with the Black Stars before your game against Mali. Unnecessary pressure that's going to come onto the team even before they step onto the pitch on Monday. So those are the kind of scenarios you could have avoided if you had just done what was a very basic job against Chad. And it's not like Chad, where the better team or had better players. It's just a case that the Black Stars players just showed very little desire, very little motivation. And as has always been the case in football, it's not the team with the most talented players that always wins. Sometimes it's the team that just wants it more that wins. And yesterday, you could just tell throughout the game that Madagascar's, the Chad, were just willing to do the extra. They were running a bit more. The Black Stars were too lackadaisical. They wasted the chances and felt like another chance would come. And that comes from complacency, where you don't respect the opponent. You don't put enough effort into burying the chances that really matter. They could have and should have gone into the first half break being up by at least 2-0. That didn't happen. 1-0 was very minimal. You come back in the second half. What do? You need to go on and try and score. But yesterday, Otto Addo was so conservative. The fullbacks were so laid back. They didn't contribute enough going forward. Gideon Mensah was so poor in that game. And you had Derek Korn, who was called for the first time. You don't give him a run in. The midfielders were very reserved. It was almost as in the front three. Inaki Williams struggled again. Was too isolated. So yesterday, it just seemed like a lot of the players were very disinterested, and Otto Addo himself just seemed like he was trying to protect the 1-0 lead. I wasn't exactly sure what the motivation was and what he was trying to do. And all this idea of blaming the pitch and saying the pitch is the reason they couldn't play well, they couldn't move the ball. Ghana wasn't the only team that played on that pitch. Chad also played on that pitch. You need to adapt. That's why you got the opportunity to train on the pitch. And many coaches have done it. When the pitch is hard, it's not watered, the ball doesn't move fast enough, you need to narrow the passing spaces. You need to narrow the distances between your players so you don't need to be hitting long passes. Like, all of these are techniques that coaches at the highest level and these players at the level that they play in, they know. It's very basic. So I find it really difficult to understand that he complained before the game about the pitch and complained after the game about the pitch. So what did you do about it if you knew that there was a problem there? So it feels like he's trying to find excuses for a game that seriously should have been won. We have no business drawing that game. With all due respect to Chad, if you look at the volume of chances that we created, especially in the first half, we had enough to bury it. And once we didn't get more than one goal in the first half, we came back in the second half. The first half showed us that we had the capacity to create more and score more. But we didn't do that. The approach changed, very lackadaisical. Everybody just seemed disinterested, and we got what we deserved. It was a disappointing 2 points dropped, and we put unnecessary pressure on ourselves when we really could have. Because yesterday, we could have put 6 points between us and the team that was chasing us in second, even before they have played the game. Instead, we've now allowed a team that was in fourth position going into this particular match day to claw back to now 3 points behind us, and they have a chance to level on points on Monday, even before we've taken onto the pitch at the Accra Sports Stadium. A very, very avoidable scenario, avoidable situation. But we are where we are, and we need to back the team and hope that they will do the job against Mali on Monday.
What do you say finally, Fentuo?
I think, to be honest, Otto hasn't entirely convinced since he came back. So anybody that says that he's not done a great job would have good reason to believe that Otto Addo has not been good, if we are being honest. Because in 20 years, he's the first coach to not qualify for an AFCON. In those 20 years, AFCON qualification was deemed a very basic right for Ghana. Yes, Sankra, at least will get to qualify. Otto didn't qualify, played 6 games, didn't win a single one of them. And so, anybody that says that would have good reason to believe that the coach is not or hasn't exactly done too well. The point I want to make, Winston, and just clarify for people is that while we can ask questions about the timing of Kofi Adams' press conference to make the budget public, I don't think that that's the reason or that the Black Stars could not beat Chad. And a lot of the detail, I think it's Kwabena who was talking about some of the things that were done at that press conference. It's important that we don't present the wrong information. The minister did not slash bonuses of players at that press conference. The players had already agreed to be paid 5,000. The minister didn't do that. So what the minister did was take out bonuses that was earmarked for management committee members. The players were always going to receive their $5,000 at the end of every game. The remaining 5,000 they had agreed that they would pay it cumulatively when they qualify for the World Cup. So nothing was done about players' money at that particular press conference. So let's not misconstrue the issues. That's one. Number two, and this is my opinion, if the Black Stars players think that the minister's press conference is far more important than beating Chad and qualifying to the FIFA World Cup, then they have absolutely no business playing for the Black Stars. There is no bigger stage than the FIFA World Cup. There should be no other motivation required of you as a professional footballer. If there is an opportunity for you to play a certain game, win that game, and put yourself in pole position to qualify for the World Cup, we have to stop this over pampering of our senior national team players. The FIFA players would kill to play at the FIFA World Cup. We've seen players in this country who have died in this country trying to qualify for the FIFA World Cup, have put lives on the line with no money on the table to qualify for the FIFA World Cup. And we know what the FIFA World Cup did for their careers afterward. So if you're a footballer and you don't think that playing at the FIFA World Cup is far more important than any winning bonus you would get playing against Chad, then you're not serious. You have no business playing for the Black Stars. Granted, even if they paid them $10,000 or they had agreed to pay them $10,000 to go and play against Chad, and you go and win against Chad, and you ultimately still don't qualify for the World Cup, what have you done? So winning bonus or no winning bonus, once there's an opportunity to qualify for the World Cup, I honestly will not subscribe to any opinion that says that the minister's press conference or taking bonuses away from management committee members or refusing to pay $5,000 to Fuel Bass that only did 2 trips to the Lagos Stadium and back to Elisha are the reason that the Black Stars could not beat Chad. Let's be serious here as a football country. What are we talking about? We said we want accountability. The president said we must be accountable, and that matters of Black Stars budget can no longer be a secret. Kofi Adams didn't just do that on his own discretion. Fair enough. You could say and argue that perhaps he should have done that the weeks earlier. That's okay. But that cannot be the reason that the Black Stars could not beat Chad. What kind of motivation, Winston, do you need with the FIFA World Cup in sight against Chad, the whipping boys of the group? What sort of motivation do players need to go and beat them? So let's stop this thing that we didn't win because the minister did press conference. And I've heard Kojo Yanka, a former management committee member, say it. I've heard Evans Bobie, the former deputy sports minister, also say it. We have to get serious about some of these things. The Black Stars players, when they underperform with their coach, we must point it out and stop finding external reasons to justify why they have underperformed. This team with this coach failed to qualify for the AFCON. Who blamed a management member?
Okay.
They were being paid those bonuses. So that question goes to the caller who said that's the reason. Before Kofi Adams' press conference, right? These players were paid all these bonuses were untouched when they played the 6 games during the AFCON qualifiers. Why didn't they qualify?
Let's wrap it up. Yes. Finally.
So look, I'm done. I'm saying that we can ascribe all kinds of reasons for why they lost.
Okay.
They didn't win this game. But I genuinely don't think revealing the Black Stars budget is why they couldn't beat Chad.
Okay. Thank you very much, Fentuo. Is it that the Zoom has made your hair look like you have a braid on, or you're actually?
No, it's the hair that you have been.
Oh, okay. No, I just wanted to be sure.
No, my hair is doing. Do you know the meaning of remontada?
Masa, you're out of order. Bye bye. Yeah, you're out of order. Atsu, finally,
I only have 2 words for them. Just win. Just win. That's it.
They should just win.
Just win. Just win on Monday and restore some pride to yourself. That's it. Just win.
I'm not sure it is going to happen anyway, but
no. Look, at this point, whether we believe they will win, there are some who have questioned whether or not this team can respond to pressure. It doesn't matter.
They should just win.
All the probabilities, just win.
This message from Ernest says the team adopted a lackadaisical approach after their first goal, as if they were playing a training match. Otto Addo just watched on without reacting. The captain seemed also happy with their attitude. Otto Addo and his technical team should just take responsibility for what happened. Against Mali will, however, be a different game. Okay,